The following program is an exclusive presentation of GPTV.
Georgia Public Television presents the Georgia High School Association 2000 Football Semifinals. Funding for this program is provided in part by Georgia Natural Gas, Georgia's Touchstone Energy Cooperatives, IBEW Local 613, and by South Trust Bank. Day 2 of the GHSA football semifinals from the Georgia Dome. 7 games in the books, 3 to go, and here's a big one right here. AAA Swainsboro and Washington County, and good afternoon, everybody, and welcome. I'm Jim Ginocchio. What a day of football we have had so far. Commerce beats Lincoln County in a great game, the single-A battle earlier today. We had a great double-A game, and now the AAA showdown, which is going to be a dandy. Swainsboro and Washington County, the winner of this one will take on Fitzgerald in the championship game next weekend. So there you see the teams left in AAA, and you are in for a good one here at the Georgia Dome. To call it for you are the two guys in the booth, Chuck Hushin and John Dewberry. Gentlemen.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon, everyone. Second 3A semifinal in as many days here at the Georgia Dome. I'm Chuck Hushin, working with former Georgia Tech quarterback John Dewberry. And John, we've got a great matchup here in Game 2.
No question about it. Of course, you know, Washington County's been here a lot, 94, 96, 97 with Coach Rick Tomberlin. He seems to always find a way to win football games, as he did last week against Carrollton, going to the pass, getting away from the rush, which has got him here thus far. But, you know, Swainsboro comes in 3 great wins over 3 great football programs in Thomasville, LaGrange, and Hart County. So it should be a heck of a football game.
Swainsboro ranked number 2. Let's take a look at their statistics. See, the record is 12-1. And they run behind a great tailback in Brandon Andrews.
No question about it. He's one of the great backs in the state of Georgia. There's a plethora of great backs in the state of Georgia this week, and you see his carries. That's his regular season stats there. 300 carries, 2,104 yards, 7-yard average. He's about 2,500 yards though now, Chuck.
Ray Van Tig is in his 7th year as head coach of the Swainsboro Tigers. Let's find out about his game plan in today's action.
Offensively, you know, we try to keep it quite balanced, but of course Brandon Andrews has been the key to our team all year long, and so we want to use our offensive line, the strength of it, and the good blocking of our backs. We want to run the football, and then we want to throw when we can or when we have to, and then also when we want to, and that'll be a good thing to do on first or second down. Defensively, our intentions are to put pressure on the quarterback. We do a lot of movement on defensive side of the ball. We're a multiple 50 team. We've got some skill in the secondary, so we're able to lock up man in a lot of situations. Against Washington County, you've got to stay balanced on both sides of the ball because their favorite formation's too tight. So we're going to try to stay square and keep as many people in the box as possible to try to stop their ground attack.
Coach Ray Van Tig of Swainsboro. Now, Washington County is the only unranked team among the 4 playing at the Dome this weekend, but they're no stranger to the Dome. They're 3-0 here under Coach Rick Tomberlin, and they've had a great year. Here's their stats.
Take a look at their record, as you point out, Chuck. 11-2. They don't throw the ball much, but they did it last week to the tune of 291 yards to beat Carrollton to get here. They're a rushing football team, as you see there. 3,400 yards on the ground, and they pretty much do that by committee, but the guy that'll get it most often is Chris Irwin, the big fullback. He'll be wearing number 39 this afternoon.
The man to watch is number 4. That's Preston Smith, the sophomore quarterback, and Preston, for a sophomore, filling some big shoes. He's doing a great job.
No question about it. He's looking for a championship as a sophomore quarterback. What a great honor. He could be in the likes of Terrence Edwards and Charlie Askew. The record he broke last week, in fact, was the school record set by Charlie Askew, who won a state championship back in '94. And he threw for 291 yards and 3 touchdowns after only throwing for 650 yards in 12 football games. So like I said a minute ago, Coach Tomberlin seems to find ways to win football games.
Coach Rick Tomberlin in the 6th semifinal in 9 years. Tomberlin, boy, he's done a great job, especially here in the Dome. As John said, 3-0 in play in the Dome. And let's hear from Coach Rick Tomberlin now and his game plan going in today against Swainsboro.
Well, we want to go in and be consistent. We'd like to establish the run like we always do. And, play action passes are a big part of our attack. And but I think everything, for us is centered around the running game. We'd like to be able to come in and run effectively, throw our play action passes, and then mix in sprint out and a couple drop back. But, we'd like to be able to be physical and take care of the ball and go get them.
We have the kickoff coming up at the Georgia Dome as second-ranked Swainsboro battles Washington County. As you see Swainsboro coming onto the field, we're back with a kickoff coming up right after this. Prep football on GPTV.
You're watching the Georgia High School Association Football Championships on GPTV.
All the talking's over. We're ready to go. The Class 3A semifinal. Winner of this game will get Fitzgerald in the state championship next weekend. Case and Devane set to kick it off for Swainsboro. Deep for Washington County is Mario East. And the kickoff going to come down to East at the 10. Mario East back to the 20-yard line. And then a whole bunch of white shirts from Swainsboro throwing backward. Jesse Bright leads the charge. He's the weak side defensive tackle. You see the starting lineup, first of all, for the offensive backfield for the Washington County Golden Hawks. Quarterback Preston Smith. Go-to guy is fullback Chris Irwin. That's the offensive line. Richie Elmquist is a pretty good receiver. Handoff going to Irvin, who tries the middle, gets 3 yards out to the 23. John Dewberry, this Swainsboro defense, especially tough. They've given up 69 points in all of the 2000 season. You see the defensive line.
And they're big too, Chuck. As you point out, they've only given up and only 20 points en route to get into the dome as they shut out both LaGrange and Thomasville.
Led by linebackers Dwayne Woods and Charles Silas. Play action. Smith going to put it up. And he overshoots the intended receiver. That was Antoine Evans at the 45-yard line. With the coverage was cornerback Brian Mason. Dwayne Woods coming in, the linebacker, strong side, 150 tackles, 12 tackles for loss. Watch the replay once again.
Well, this is what got him here last week, beating Carrollton to play action pass, and he's going to it again early, Coach Tomberlin is. You see Preston Smith just overthrowing his wide receiver, number 30, Antoine Evans. But that'll loosen up that tough defense of Swainsboro early in the game.
3rd down and 8. Little pump fake. And the ball knocked down out of the hands. It goes. Jesse Bright, the weak side defensive tackle, number 55, was there to tip it away. So Washington County's going to have to punt the football.
I like the series, though. He comes out early and he's going to loosen up the defense, just what he did last week against Carrollton. They have not thrown the ball a lot this year, but as I pointed out in the pregame, Rick Tomberlin finds ways to win football games, and last week he threw for 300 yards, Preston Smith did, to get him to this contest.
Clem McDavid set to punt it away, and he gets his foot into it. High spiraling punt. Takes Damian Coleman all the way back to the 30. He bobbles and starts giving ground. Damian Coleman. Pretty good return going down the far sideline. We have a flag down. Coleman is down at the Washington County 45-yard line, tackled by Ken Freeman. Let's go downstairs. Here's John Nelson. John?
Thanks, Chuck and JD. One note, Chris Irwin for Waco is playing hurt. He injured his back in a tackling drill on Tuesday, and they've been trying to nurse it along ever since. About an hour and 15 minutes ago, they were applying heat to it in the locker room, so it'll be kind of touch and go where Irwin is today. Rick Tomberlin knows that he is the underdog in this ball game. He says he has some silver bullets in his gun. He may have to use them a little early.
The big handoff to Andrews, and Jason Samples, the quarterback, keeps it, picks a very little yardage. Justin Selby, the inside linebacker, the leading tackler for Washington County with 119 tackles coming in, makes the stop. You see the starting offensive backfield for the Swainsboro Tigers, ranked number 2 in the state. They've lost only one. Big man is Brandon Andrews. There's the offensive line. For Samples, a gain of 1 yard, so second down and 9 yards to go. A motion. Nobles to the top of your screen. And quarterback with a handoff to Andrews. Not much in the middle. You see the defensive line for the Washington County Golden Hawks. Rico Bosser just made that tackle at the rush defensive end. There's the linebackers and the corners. We have a flag down. Swainsboro backing up as the referee discusses the options with Washington County. Here's a call.
An illegal shift on the offense. 5 yards, repeat, second down.
So that'll back it up to the Washington County 49-yard line. Get a good look at Coach Raven Teague, graduate of the University of Chattanooga. Well, he's got it going this year at Swainsboro. This is quarterback Samples. Has a man out there. Pass is complete. That's gone for a touchdown. Pass complete to Mitch Nobles, a junior split end. And Jason Samples, 10 TD passes on the year, puts it right on the money, and Swainsboro jumps out in front here 6-0.
Great play action pass that time by Samples. They bought the fullback dive, and then you just saw Nobles get behind the receiver. The worst thing that could happen to Coach Rick Tomlin just happened to him, and getting down early in this ball game, because Swainsboro folks do not give up many points.
Kason Devane on to try the point after. The holder is Jonathan Clifton, and a whistle stops play. Flags all over the place. Somebody in the neutral zone, and they'll sort this out. Big play. That was a 49-yard touchdown pass from Jason Samples to Mitch Nobles. You see the officiating crew working today's AAA semifinal. Dennis Payne, the referee, with the call.
Dead ball, approachment on the defense. Half a distance to the goal line. Second try.
There you take a good look at Coach Rick Tomlin in the background. He's done a great job with his program. In fact, he is the coach in Georgia who's gotten most wins ever in 9 seasons. He passed Alan Chadwick of Marist this year with 103 victories in 9 seasons.
Clifton gets it down for Kason Devane, and he drills it through the uprights. So second-ranked Swainsboro grabs an early lead over Washington County, 7-0. And we have just 2 minutes and 5 seconds expired here in the first quarter. Watch this again. The play action really set that up, John.
Yeah, and it wasn't that good a fake, but it was just kind of looked like it actually was going to be a quarterback sweep, and he pulled up. Right here, you take a look. Very little fake, just a little pass at him. But he gets a lot of air under the ball and lets Nobles run under it. A great throw and catch. Well executed. And I like what both coaches have done, Chuck. They're known for running. They both come out and test the secondaries early. Tomlin and Washington County came up with nothing. And Swainsboro Tigers, when they went to the air, came up with the big play, the 49-yard touchdown pass, and the lead here with 9:55 remaining in the first quarter.
Jason Samples, 6'2", 180 pounds, a senior. As we said earlier, his 10th touchdown pass of the season. Devane has it all teed up, ready to kick it off. Mario East is deep to receive again for the Golden Hawks. The kick comes down at the 11-yard line. East back out to the 20. Finds a seam across the 30. Still on his feet out to the 38-yard line. Mario East, a nice return, and Charles Silas makes the stop, one of those inside linebackers.
I tell you what, Mario East showed you a little shake and bake there and a little bit of power that time. As you take a look at Swainsboro's scoring drive, it was only 2 plays and a big 45 yards after losing a couple yards. And because of the 49-yard touchdown pass from Samples to Noble. Great play.
So first down 10, pretty good field position for Washington County as they begin this drive. They're in the black shirts with the gold helmets and gold pants. The Golden Hawks of Washington County from down in Sandersville. And a handoff going to the fullback, Chris Irwin. Not much there. He got out to about the 40-yard line before he was thrown backward. Well, this defense for Swainsboro is extremely tough. Dwayne Woods and Jamal Butler combine on the stop.
And they're also very good-sized and can really run. Charles Silas, the inside linebacker with Dwayne Woods. Woods is 6'1", 210, and Charles Silas is 6'5", 220. So that's going to give quarterback Preston Smith fits this afternoon.
No gain on that last play, so second down, 9.5 yards to go. Play action. Smith getting pressure, going to throw it underneath. Mario East has it, and he's knocked down for no gain. Great coverage by Dwayne Woods on the back out of the backfield, Mario East. So it's going to be third down and long, and Preston Smith did a nice job just getting away from the rush. Watch it again.
Again, they go to the play action, little fake on the counter, little bootleg action, but the defensive end comes up in his face and is chasing him, and as you say, Preston Smith does a great job. But Woods stays at home and makes the tackle. Now you take another look at it. Good job by the young sophomore quarterback just to get the ball off and avoid an 8 or 10 yard loss.
Yeah, Jamal Butler.
There you go.
We'll see him here, number 44, putting the pressure on him, along with Jonathan Moses. So here we go. Third down, 10 yards to go. Play action. Smith straight drop, fires it over the middle. Pass is complete to Corey May, the tight end. And he gets out close to first down yardage. They're going to say into Swainsboro territory at the 49-yard line, first down.
Again, they're going to the bootleg action, little play action, try to hold those big linebackers, and you see the tight end come open there and picks up the 12-yard gain as he finds Corey May for the first down. Outstanding play call that time. You take a look at it again, and good open field tackle by the cornerback, Jason Samples, also, of course, the quarterback, Jason Samples.
So Washington County moves the sticks. First down, 10 yards to go, and the offensive line jumped a little early. Looked like the right guard, John Young, may have jumped early. So this will back Washington County up 5 yards. Third of 5 games coming up today here at the Georgia Dome as we play the semifinal round of the GHSA playoffs.
Dead ball, false start on the offense. 5-yard penalty, repeat the down.
So first down, 15 yards to go. That's Rick Tomberlin of Washington County. Bobby Bowden disciple.
And he's a very fine coach, as you saw him signaling in the plays to his young quarterback, Preston Smith.
Graduated from Florida State, class of 1981. Second man through is Mario East. They run the counter play, and he gets back to midfield before he's knocked down. Mario East will get the penalty back, or most of it anyway. Tackle on the play by Dwayne Woods, the strong side linebacker, along with Jonathan Moses. And you see the nose man, Titus Peoples, down and injured for Swainsboro. He's one they can ill afford to lose. He has 95 tackles on the season. Watch it again.
Here again, they go to that bootleg action, and then they pull that guard up, number 59, Jamal Davis, into the hole, and Mario East just follows him up into it. I believe that time Chris Irwin and one of his offensive linemen kind of met right about where Titus Peoples, number 7, is lying on the field right now. Put a heck of a block on him.
Yeah, it's an ankle injury, and you'll get to see it again. Somebody rolled up on his ankle, and it can happen a lot of times. So Peebles, as we said earlier, the senior nose guard, 6'2", 260. He's one they can ill afford to lose. Swainsboro leads this thing 7-0 on a 49-yard touchdown pass from Jason Samples to Mitch Nobles. And the hard hats, Washington County are out. Some of those folks, no shirt. Of course, it's not as tough. You're not as much of a tough guy in the dome with no shirt.
I would say not. There you see Titus Peoples. He's had a very fine season, 95 tackles, 5 sacks, and hopefully he'll get over it, get a little ice on it, a little tape, and maybe be able to come back out and finish this semifinal game.
Now, if we were in Green Bay, Wisconsin, that would be tough if you show up without a shirt. Yeah. Second down, 11 yards to go from midfield for Washington County. I formation this time, and the quarterback Smith wants to run the option. Takes it to the 45-yard line before he's knocked down. The tackle on the play is made by Jesse Bright. Preston Smith, good-looking sophomore quarterback.
actually, they've got in another player here, number 14 at quarterback. And
that's Corey May.
That's Corey May who's running the option. I tell you, Coach Tomlin has got a few tricks in his bag. That time he wanted to run the option, so he brought Corey May under the center and ran the option.
So they bring Preston Smith back in, number 4, and Corey May puts out wide to the right. There's a bobble, and Jonathan Moses is going to knock down Preston Smith all the way back at the 50-yard line. Big play by Jonathan Moses, the defensive end.
Well, here you take a look at the penetration by Jonathan Moses. He wasn't the only one getting in the backfield on that play. A lot of disruption by that defensive front at Swainsboro. They're big and they're fast and they're very strong. That was have a holly jolly Christmas, Preston Smith.
So it's 4th down and will force the Golden Hawks to punt it. The punter is Clem McDavid. He gets it out of there, a wobbler. Fair catch is made by Damian Coleman at the 20-yard line, so Swainsboro will put it in play at that point. We have 6:05 left in the first quarter. Swainsboro with a 7-0 lead over Washington County.
Not a bad response there by the Washington County Golden Hawks. They picked up some field position. They did not get any points, but they picked up a good field position. There you take a look at Peoples on the sidelines. The look on his face, Chuck, is not a good one.
First down, 10 yards to go for the second-ranked Tigers as they go back to work on offense. Nobles splits out to the top of your screen, and that's Damian Coleman wide at the bottom. Split backs in the backfield. Now they motion Nobles over this way and run it back to the weak side. This is Brandon Andrews. Andrews, with all those yards rushing, couldn't get open for business. Will Lord, the defensive guard, makes a stop for Washington County.
The play was actually made, though, really by Ken Freeman. Did an outstanding job containing the outside that time, turning him back into his teammate Will Lord. So give Ken Freeman at least an assist on that play.
Brandon Andrews has averaged over 200 yards per game in each of the 3 playoff games. Last week against top-ranked Hart County, 281 yards rushing and 6 touchdowns. You have a slot man to the top of your screen now, wideouts either side, and somebody jumped into the neutral zone. It was Clint Brown, the defensive tackle, and that's an automatic in high school football. Once you go into the neutral zone, the flag flies, and they'll mark off 5 yards against you. So put the ball out to the 25.
Encroachment on the defense. 5 yards, repeat first down.
It's Dennis Payne, the referee. So second down and 5 yards to go for Swainsboro.
And it's all just Brandon Andrews. Big Brandon Andrews. He's done it all year long. He's done it all career long, folks. He almost has 6,000 yards in his career, and he's going over 2,500 in the season this year. And you saw him do it as he got outside, basically on the grass by himself.
There's a counter play as the ball goes to Brazel. Cameron Brazel's going to take it down inside the 10-yard line to about the 9. Corey May and Antoine Evans combine on the stop.
I tell you, it's a very impressive offensive line. Good surge off the offensive line. You get the pulling guard, number 58, getting up in the hole, Ted Sconyers, and then you got Brazel just following him almost for the touchdown. Corey May grabs him by a leg, and his teammate, number 30, Antoine Evans, helps him nudge him out of bounds to save the touchdown.
It's 1st and goal. The ball just inside the 10-yard line. Here's a handoff going to Andrews. He only got a yard before he was knocked down. Stop on a play by Corey May for the 3rd consecutive time. So 2nd down and goal from the 9-yard line. A big defensive stand here for Washington County.
I tell you, Ray Van Teague's team is very strong up front, both on offense and defense. Of course, few of those guys do go both ways, but they are getting a real good push right now against the Golden Hawks.
Well, they run behind big sophomore Benji Bell, 6'5", 275, the right tackle. Second down, goal to go. Here's Samples. Rolling, throwing, pass incomplete. That one was intended for Cameron Brazel at the 4-yard line, but a good defensive play that time by Washington County's Ken Freeman, so it brings up 3rd and goal from the 9-yard line.
Ken Freeman's a very active player for the Golden Hawks. He can stuff the run, and he can also cover because he runs about 4'6", so he can cover those backs and receivers coming out of the backfield, and did an outstanding job there for his team.
So the Tigers go on 3rd down here. Wideouts to either side. Split backs in the backfield. Now they motion Nobles. Play action. Here comes a reverse. One man to beat. This is Nobles. Knocked out of bounds at the 2-yard line.
Chuck, I think they're going to bring it back. We may have a holding call here on the Swainsboro Tigers. That's going to nullify that great run.
We have a flag at the 11-yard line. Corey May and Ken Freeman make the stop for Washington County, but this play won't count. Holding against the Tigers. That'll back them up 10 yards.
There you see the holding right there on number 45 in your screen. And Ken Freeman again trying to make the play, but that time he was outrun. But you can't see the holding on this particular play, but you can see
We had holding.
Mitch Nobles.
On the offense, 10-yard penalty, repeat the down.
So back it up to the 21-yard line where it's 3rd down and goal to go now. And another big play for the Washington County defense. I don't think they can get behind by 2 scores on this Swainsboro team. Their defense is much too good. There's back. Samples sends it to the end zone. It's intended for Damian Coleman, but incomplete. That time good pressure on the quarterback by the Washington County defense. And it forces 4th down and goal from the 21.
I tell you, you got to give the guys from the Golden Hawks of Washington County a lot of credit. They showed character there. As you point out, you don't want to get down 2 scores to this tough Swainsboro defense, and they stood up. Swainsboro, of course, getting the holding call, self-destructed a little bit themselves, but great pressure that time by the defensive front. Really forced Samples to have to throw that ball too early.
Kaysen Devane will try a 38-yard field goal out of the hole to Jonathan Clifton, who gets it down there. Devane sends it on the way, and the kick is good. 38-yard field goal by Kaysen Devane gives Swainsboro a 10-0 lead over Washington County.
Can't tell you how big that was, Mr. Devane. Look at him there. He's very excited. You don't see many great kicks in high school, particularly under that kind of pressure in a game of this magnitude. He gets it up, has plenty of distance. Could have been good from another 10 yards out.
That's a great shot, too, by the GPTV crew. From behind, Devane
right down
nails
the
it.
middle.
So 10-0 the score. Swainsboro leading Washington County, and now the pressure on the Washington County offense to get something going and answer.
No question about it. This is when you get a little character test. They did a great job on the defensive side to hold Swainsboro to Devane's 3-point field goal. But now they have got to mount an offensive drive that doesn't just get a moral victory like they did last time by picking up some field position. They need some points, and they need them soon.
Devane has it teed up. And we'll kick it off to Mario East. Winner of this game gets Fitzgerald. Game yesterday, John, I worked for John Davis. We had a 48-yard field goal in that one by Fitzgerald from the 13-yard line. On the return, it's Antoine Evans, and he gets out near the 20-yard line. That's all she wrote. Good play on special teams by Michael Kyler.
And a whole host of defenders. I tell you, Antoine felt very lonely here. Watch, these guys don't block a soul. Four Washington County guys in front on the wedge. They didn't block a soul and left Antoine all alone. I think he's going to have a few words with those guys.
He may have.
He's going to take back his Christmas presents he had for him.
22-yard line, first down, 10 yards to go for Washington County. They trail it 10-0. Quarterback is sophomore Preston Smith, and he hands it off to Mario East. East gets a couple out to the 24-yard line. On the stop, Dwayne Woods, Charles Silas.
And I believe Titus Peoples may be back in the football game. There he is, standing in the huddle. So that's a good sign. I'm glad to see he's okay.
My spotter, Robbie Ross, tells me he led the charge. You see the scoring drive again for Swainsboro. 38-yard field goal. Handoff this time going to Princeton Miller. Miller gets out at about the 27-yard line before he's thrown down by the strong safety, Damian Coleman. Coleman, 89 tackles coming into this game. So it brings up a big third down for Washington County. And, John, they need something good to happen on offense. They
really need to convert on this third down. This could be a critical turning point, because if they don't convert, Swainsboro is going to get the ball about midfield.
Twins left, one step back, rolling left, Smith. And everybody's covered. He gets thrown down at the 27, about the line of scrimmage. Wesley Reese, strong side defensive tackle, along with Jesse Bright, a weak side tackle, make the stop. You get a look at some of the earlier action at the Dome. The Monte Williams show. He scored a touchdown late to give the win to Commerce. What a career he is having. Where the Tigers, Cook County, and Washington Wilkes battling, and Dacus Turman had 237 yards rushing to give Washington Wilkes a trip to the championship game. There's a punt by Clem McDavid. It's a pretty good punt. And a fair catch is made by Damian Coleman back at the 37-yard line. No return. So Swainsboro will have decent field position as they begin this drive.
Two outstanding punts by Washington County. Right now, the punter is probably the most valuable offensive player for Washington County, but Swainsboro is just smothering Coach Tomlin's team on defense. I mean, unbelievable pressure being put on the quarterback and the running backs.
Let's go downstairs, and here's John Nelson again. John?
Thanks, Chuck and JD. A couple of quick things. The injury for Titus Peoples simply was just a rollover. They taped his ankle, got his shoe back on. He's back out there, upstairs.
First down, 10 yards to go for the Tigers at the 37, and a flag is down, and so is the ball carrier. That was Brandon Andrews on the carry. Rico Boss, the rush defensive end.
There you take a look at Brandon Andrews on a straight dive, and then Rico Boss comes screaming in from the defensive end position to hit a load. Brandon Andrews is a load. Good tackle that time, and looks like we got another flag and I guess illegal motion on the offense. So the only thing Swainsboro has done well.
On the offense, penalties refused. Second down.
Second down and 10 yards to go after the loss of one. Rather second and 11.
The only thing I was saying that they have not done well is penalize themselves. If you take a look at the penalties right there, they have 3 penalties for 20 yards, and they've been in all critical positions.
So mark it at the 36-yard line, second down, 11. Quick pitch, going to Andrews. Tries to get the corner and cut it back, and got a couple out to the 39. Again, Antoine Evans on the stop, but the Golden Hawks were able to turn Brandon Andrews back inside on that toss sweep, and that's what they have to do to have any success against him.
You're exactly right. The only time he's gotten to the corner, you saw him pick up about 45 yards and almost score on it. You want to get Brandon Andrews back inside where you have help from your teammates. Great job that time by Ken Freeman trying to contain.
Third down, 7 yards to go from the 40-yard line. Quarterback Jason Samples on a sprint draw, gives it to Andrews. He gets out close to the 45, maybe the 46-yard line before he's knocked down by Rod Brown. Rodriguez Brown with the tackle, and it's going to force a fourth down and 2 yards to go here. And Swainsboro is going to punt the football.
Well, Chuck, I think that was classic Brandon Andrews. As you look at his regular season numbers, 300 carries, 301 carries, 2,104 yards, 7-yard average, and 18 touchdowns. But even though that was only a 6-yard gain, that was a brilliant piece of running by Brandon Andrews. Did it really on his own.
You see the score as we play late in the first quarter. Fourth down, 2 yards to go. And Clay Price on to punt for the first time today for Swainsboro. Snapper is Ted Sconyers, and Price gets his foot into it. Takes Antoine Evans back to the 20-yard line, and good coverage by Swainsboro. Sconyers, a snapper, got down to make the tackle. 1 quarter in the books here at the Georgia Dome as Swainsboro leads Washington 10-0. You're watching high school football state playoffs on GPTV. Quarter number 2 coming up.
You're watching the Georgia High School Association Football Championships on GPTV.
All right, first down, 10 yards to go from the 22-yard line. Cheerleaders really whooping it up. It's fun to come to the Dome.
No question about it. It's a big deal.
There's a quick drop by Preston Smith, and the pass knocked away. Jonathan Moses got his hand on it. Jesse Bright was also in there. Second down and 10 from the 22. What a pass rush.
There you see Preston trying to get that pass off, and Moses and Bright both. Either one of them could have tipped that ball. Not sure who got it, but that's great penetration. What a front Swainsboro has.
Well, he put that in the middle of Jesse Bright's helmet. It's hard not to knock that one down. Quick pitch going to Mario East, and he runs at right tackle, gets out to the 23-yard line, a gain of only 1. Dwayne Woods, a junior strong side linebacker, closes quickly for Swainsboro.
Coach Tomberlin and his offensive unit are trying to find a way to move the ball in this tremendous, really smothering, overpowering Swainsboro defense. There you take a look at third down conversions. No one has converted yet. Swainsboro threw their ball for their touchdown on second down, actually the 49-yard touchdown play, which has been the biggest play of the game thus far, to take an early 7-0 lead.
That's Antoine Evans split to the top of your screen. Little play action. Preston Smith going to run it. And he's not going to run it far. Knocked down at the 25-yard line by Dwayne Woods. Again, Woods with 150 tackles on the season coming into this game makes the stop.
Take a look here. These defensive line free up these two linebacker, Woods and Silas, to roam the field. You see Dwayne Woods showing you his range and his speed to get to the corner, because Preston Smith can motor folks, but he walks him down right here and says, Preston, that's all you're going to get tonight.
So fourth down and 7 yards to go. Clem McDavid gets it out of there. A high spiraling punt coming up to make the fair catch. Damian Coleman, and again, pretty good field position for the Swainsboro Tigers as they will open this drive at their own 44-yard line.
There you take a look at some Washington County guys trying to get their team going. The Golden Hawks are real accustomed to winning football games. As Chuck pointed out, as we pointed out earlier, they've won the championship in 94, 96, and 97. But things don't look that good for him right now this afternoon. As you take a look at Raven Devane, Ray Van T, he's looking for his first championship at Swainsboro.
First down 10. There's Samples getting pressure. Throwing it up for grabs. Jump ball, and it's knocked away from Mitch Nobles at the 20-yard line by Ken Freeman. That time Jason Samples showed you a little arm as he had all kinds of pressure and still put that ball 40 yards downfield.
And on the run, he put it up high and short, which is what you want to do to try to get your receiver to see it first and come back and make the play. But you see my man Ken Freeman's back there as a linebacker, almost picks it off, and then Nobles almost has the presence of mind to catch the tip drill.
So second down, 10 yards to go.
Now you take a look at Ken Freeman. He's had a good season, 101 tackles, 3 for sacks, and 1 interception. Almost made it 2.
Ball at the 44-yard line. Twins to the right. Second man through this time is Andrews. And Brandon Andrews fumbles a football. Washington County has it. Clint Brown, the defensive tackle. As the Golden Hawks fly to the football, they force a fumble by Brandon Andrews. And Washington County gets a break. Their ball first down 10 at their own 47-yard line.
Outstanding effort by both football teams. Take a look at Brandon Andrews' effort right here. He's breaking tackles, trying to get the first down. And just at the very end, my man Ken Freeman comes in and rips him for the fumble and recovers it. Number 54, Clint Brown. Big play for Washington County. They can get back in this football game.
Quarterback Preston Smith turns and hands it to his fullback, Irwin. Chris Irwin gets out near midfield before he's tackled. Stop on a play by Wesley Reese, strong side defensive tackle. Titus Peoples, a nose man, was also in there. So it's a gain of 3 yards, second down, and 7 yards to go.
That time I think I would have had to take to the air, Chuck. After a big turnover like that, I like to see a coach go after their juggler. I'd have liked to see Coach Tomlin take to the air and see if he couldn't find a big play that time from his quarterback Preston to one of his wide receivers like Antoine. He's having a pretty good game returning punts.
Washington County on 2nd and 7. Here's a handoff going to Princeton Miller, and he gets down to the 39-yard line, picks up the first down. Dwayne Woods on the stop at Princeton Miller, 5'9", 180, and a junior, has a big first down for the Golden Hawks. Watch it again, John.
Or if you're, of course, Rick Tomlin, you can just run the counter on second down and pick up 13 yards and tell Dewberry to be quiet up in the booth.
But you were thinking of that. Yeah. That was your second option.
Great run that time. Great call by Tomlin. Does the misdirection. Good lead block. And my man Princeton Miller gets outside and picks up about 13 yards. As I've said it repeatedly, Washington County's used to winning. They can smell it a little bit. They can feel it.
Ball at the Swainsboro 39-yard line. Handoff, first man through is Chris Irwin. He takes it across the 35 down to the 33-yard line where Dwayne Woods, inside linebacker, makes the stop. Chris Irwin, the leading rusher with over 1,400 yards rushing coming in for Washington County.
Look at that surge on the offensive line as they hand it off to lead the way that time for big Chris Irwin. Don't ever underestimate the power of the Mo in high school football. They've got the momentum now, and that offensive line looks like a totally different group.
Second down, 4 yards to go. I formation. Again, Irwin with a football. He struggles and strains and has a first down at the 28-yard line. Kyle Palmer, the quick side defensive end, made the stop for the Tigers. But Chris Irwin moves the sticks for Washington County.
There's some debate as to whether it's a first down, Chuck, but I think you've got it right. It looks like they're going to stop play and come out for a measurement, but want to comment on that offensive line surge now and the running of Chris Irwin. You know, we talk a lot about Brandon Andrews. He is a great, outstanding running back, one of the great running backs in the state of Georgia this year. But Chris Irwin in his own right has about 1,600 yards this season, so he's a good workhorse himself. And the way that offensive line is playing right now and the leadership of that quarterback, Preston Smith, Washington County can get back into this football game. And you were right, Chuck, it is a first down.
And Washington County pretty much runs it tailback by committee. They've got two guys, East and Princeton Miller, who have over 1,200 yards. Here's John Nelson once again.
Chuck and JD, two quick things. Rick Tomlin looked at me at the end of the quarter, took a deep breath, and all he could do was roll his eyes. He's concerned about his blocking. That is going on right now. But the Princeton Miller run happened with the wrong personnel in the game, so he got one of those silver bullets back.
Second man through this time is Princeton Miller as they run the counter. And it's a gain of maybe a yard. Dwayne Woods had the stop, that inside linebacker. Also there was Damian Coleman, the strong safety. You see him, number 2.
Well, they keep going back to the counter play, and Dwayne Woods says, "I fooled me a couple of times, but I got you this one." Dwayne Woods is a good linebacker, folks, as is Charles Silas. Silas is the real deal at 6'5" and 220 pounds. He's a senior. I'm sure a lot of folks are looking at him.
You see the score. Just under 8 minutes remaining in the second quarter. Again, the counter. And Princeton Miller's going nowhere. Knocked down for a 3-yard loss back at the 31. Very quickly, the Swainsboro defense reacts. Jamal Butler and Wesley Reese, the strong side defensive end and defensive tackle, make the stop.
That time, look at the surge up the middle by Damian Coleman. The strong safety came on a blitz to lead the surge that time. And now down on the field, Wesley Reese.
Yeah, Damian Coleman was the first one there. He had help from Reese and Butler. And Washington County attends to Reese. And Coach Rick Tomberlin, very proud of his Washington County Golden Hawks. He's done a great job. Here's what he has to say.
Well, I'm really proud of our players and our coaches. You know, we really felt like we were in a little bit of a rebuilding process this year, and we've exceeded our expectations. We always set high goals, but we're real proud to be here. Our players have worked hard, so have our coaches, and we're in a little bit of a role reversal. Normally we're the favorites, and now I think we're certainly the decided underdogs, and we kind of like being the David in a David versus Goliath situation. But we're just happy to be here.
Well, right now, David is one slingshot down as Goliath leads it 10-0.
He needs a couple more pebbles.
Third down, 13. Play action. Preston Smith gone for the screen underneath. Pass complete to Mario East. He's knocked down at the 35-yard line by Woods. Wayne Woods, very active linebacker, and he's making big play after big play for the Swainsboro Tigers.
Those of you at home watching that play on defense in high school, you're seeing two really fine high school linebackers right now in Dwayne Woods, and on the other side of the ball, of course, and also Charles Silas. On the other side of the ball, Ken Freeman, 47 for Washington County. They do a great job showing you how to stuff it in the middle and also how to run down receivers and running backs out in the flats and cover well.
Well, on the screen pass, they lose 2, so 4th down and 15 yards to go. Washington County's going for it here. Smith. Back, pump fake, throws underneath, and passes intercepted back at the 5-yard line. Maurice Mincy comes up with it, still on his feet. Gets it across the 20 to the 21. Richie Elmquist, the tight end, makes a stop, and then a flag comes flying.
Well, that's generally what happens when you're going for 4th and about 15. You have nothing to lose, so you try to make a good play out of what looked like a bad play, and it's exactly what happened. In fact, it's actually not that bad because they actually pick up about 15 yards
and this
in
penalty
field position
is against Swainsboro as well, so it's going to back them up. Probably holding on the return, so that would put the ball at about the 12-yard line. As you see the interception return.
Oh, there's the block right there. You'll see it.
After the change of possession, we had a clip on the run back. Half a distance to goal line, first down.
There's a block in the back you'll see on number 28 right there.
So that
Damian Coleman nailed him.
That puts the ball back at the 11-yard line. So not a bad punt.
Right.
First down and 10 yards to go for Swainsboro. And they give it off in the middle to Brandon Andrews. Andrews, wearing number 34, gets out across the 15 to the 17-yard line for a gain of 6. Surged by that big offensive line for Swainsboro. Let's go to Jim Ginocchio very quickly. Jim?
Thanks, Chuck. Earlier today, the single-A semifinal, Commerce and Lincoln County. Monte Williams had a day. 2 touchdown runs, scored on a 2-point conversion, and blocked a punt. A great day for Monte Williams. Commerce beats Lincoln County, advances to the championship game 17-14. They'll face Buford next weekend. Back to you guys in the booth.
Brandon Andrews on the carry, gets cracked by inside linebacker Justin Selby at pretty much a line of scrimmage, and Andrews is down holding his right knee. Slow to get up. And that would be a devastating blow. Brian Mason, the junior, backs him up. But they just as soon not see Brian Mason in the game. Watch this again.
They're just running out of the power eye now. The exact same play they would last time. He got a helmet right in the shin. I don't think it's going to be a tough injury. I think he's probably just stung real bad. But he got a helmet right in the shin.
I thought he may have hyperextended that knee. Of course, we're a long way from where it took place. But they appear to be examining his knee. Swainsboro located just off I-16 down between Macon and Savannah, not too far from Statesboro.
Well, let's just.
And how far from Vidalia? You had dialed in. You knew exactly how far Swainsboro was from Vidalia.
Former teammate of mine, Darrell Wise, told me it was 30 miles from his hometown of Vidalia, Georgia. I hope, upon hope, say a prayer for that man, Brandon Andrews, that his knee will be okay.
He limps off gingerly.
You see now that Coach Teague is going to the power eye and just going to try to muscle him with this 10-point lead.
3rd down and 3 yards to go. And the handoff this time goes to the new tailback in there. That's Calvin Marion. And Marion gets out to the 22-yard line, is close to a first down. And it is a first down. So Calvin Marion jumps in at tailback in place of Brandon Andrews. He's a senior. A lot of seniors on this Swainsboro team. Mounting over the football. One of the few juniors, Chris Flanders, 6'2", 280. And the handoff this time going to Marion once again. He gets to the 23-yard line for a gain of about a yard and a half. Jamal Davis, the defensive guard, makes the stop.
You talk about the experience of all the seniors on the team. It's exactly what Coach Tomlin does not want to face, or anyone in a football team. They're experienced, they're big, they're strong, they're fast, and they have a whale of a running back in Brandon Andrews, who they've just been riding that horse for the last 2 or 3 years.
John Nelson down in the bench area. We'll get an update on Andrews momentarily. Handoff, second man through. It goes to Kevin Pickett. Pickett, the fullback, is open for business. He gets out to the 33 and picks up another first down. Ken Freeman, that outside linebacker John's been talking about, makes a stop for Washington County.
Here's another great surge. They do a little Charlie block there, and he just actually makes a good cut behind the block on the linebacker and picks up a few yards before Freeman's able to drag him down with a little help from his friends. But Coach Teague has decided he's just going to wear him down now, Chuck. They're big and strong and powerful. They're going to the power eye and just going to wear them out with this 10-point lead. They have such confidence in their defense. They don't think they have to score again.
Quick pitch going to Marion. Good penetration that time by Washington County. Justin Selby, the inside linebacker who came in with 119 tackles on the season. You see him, number 3, knife through to make a good stop on Kelvin Marion.
Clock ticks at 3:19 in the second quarter. Swainsboro with a 10-point lead. And
second down and 10 yards to go here. They hand it off to the fullback. It's Pickett, Kevin Pickett. They're in that trap, and he finds a little hole at left guard. Justin Selby makes the stop once again, and get an update on Brandon Andrews. Here's John Nelson.
Chuck and JD, really quickly, he took a shot on the knee, but he also took a shot on that knee last week. So it's the same injury revisited. Looking at a bruise right now, it's just kind of one of those things, and how he feels as to whether or not he'll go back into the ballgame, back upstairs.
Thank you, John. Third down, 9 yards to go. The ball at the 34-yard line. Power I formation once again for Swainsboro. And they hand on a counter play. This is Pickett. Flag is down, and so is Pickett at the 37-yard line. Correction, Brandon Andrews is back in. Yep, that's number 34. Andrews back in the lineup. Gets only a couple of yards. There is a flag down at the 35-yard line. This will be holding coming up against Swainsboro. Correction, that's a chop block called against Swainsboro.
Now you take a look at Brandon Andrews, and you'll see as he gets up and walks away, he is walking with a noticeable limp. So hopefully he'll get better as the game goes along. That would be a terrible loss to the Swainsboro team as they enter the second half. Trying to get their first championship, to my knowledge, Chuck, in the history of Swainsboro High School.
We had a chop block on the offense. It's refused. Fourth down.
So fourth down and about 6 yards to go will force a punt by Swainsboro. Swainsboro has not been in the semifinals, John, since 1978. First time to the semis since 1978, and it's their first time in the Dome.
And I remember, in fact, they played the state championship against, they played at Westminster High School. Westminster High School had Cole Egan and Gordon Beckham and a bunch of great players. And it was supposed to be one of the best football. I remember Ray Goff told me it was one of the best football games he had ever seen. Westminster and Swainsboro for the state championship, and Westminster won.
There have been some great games over the years. In fact, let's go to a 3A flashback now.
1996 AAA semifinal. Just over a minute left. Thomas County Central trailing Marist 28-21. Leonard Guyton to Eric Williams for 28 yards down to the Marist 2. 2 plays later, Joe Burns scores from a yard out. Coach Ed Pilcher calls for the 2-point conversion. Guyton the pitch to Burns, who finds Alfonso McKibbins. Thomas County Central wins it in dramatic fashion, 29-28 over Marist.
And Thomas County Central went on to capture the state title. The Jackets 4th in the 90s. Little Joe Burns went on to play for the Georgia Tech Yellow Jackets. Clay Price on to punt it away, standing at his own 23-yard line for Swainsboro. His team's up 10-zip. We play here late in the second quarter. And Price gets it out of there. A high float, a fair catch signal is made by Antoine Evans, and he hauls it in at the 32-yard line. So Washington County will go to work here with 2:15 left in the second quarter, and they're down 10-0.
Be interesting to see if Coach Tomlin allows his quarterback Preston Smith to take to the air and see if they can put some points on the board with the last 2:15 left on the clock here in the second quarter.
Titus Peebles, the nose man for Swainsboro, headed for the dressing room. He's the one that suffered that knee injury a little bit earlier. Unbalanced line to the left this time. Here comes the reverse, and there goes the reverse at the 25-yard line. Jonathan Moses wraps up Antoine Evans. I thought I was blocked. I couldn't see from here, but boy, that was great play by Jonathan Moses.
You take a look at, you talk about staying home. Boom. Not only did he stay home, he delivered a heck of a blow.
Now, what did you say about
Evans.
Hot tub and Antoine Evans?
Gosh, he's taking so many shots today. I'm going to introduce him to a tube of Bengay and a hot tub.
Second down and about 18 yards to go. Ball at the 25. Play action. Smith going to load up a bundle and has Antoine Evans out there, but the pass incomplete, thrown late at the 47-yard line. Brian Mason, the cornerback, makes the play, and Preston Smith had him but threw it a little late.
And you bring up a good point there. They don't need to get discouraged. He was open. Preston just didn't get to him in time, but he was open, and I think it's the only way for them to have a chance to defeat Swainsboro. They are outmatched at the line of scrimmage. They're going to have to do the great equalizer. I call it the great equalizer, and that is put the football in the air. And with Preston Smith in his escapability as a quarterback and his scrambling ability, he can avoid some sacks that otherwise would be happening because of that strong defensive front of Swainsboro.
Neither team is converted on third down, as you can see. Here's Preston Smith trying to do it for the first time. He guns a pass in there at the 35. And pass intended for Corey May was incomplete. Jason Samples had the coverage. Washington County fans thought interference may have been the call, but it looked like a good play by May.
Thrown a little bit behind him, and I think that's what gave you the appearance that it might have been interference. He had to reach back for it, and there was a little bit of contact, but I believe it was a good hit by Jason Samples on May.
Clem McDavid, number 15, set to punt it away for Washington County. Still have a minute 22 remaining. McDavid has punted it well today. And this is a high spiraling punt. And it takes Damian Coleman back to the 40, returns it back to the 43-yard line, where Swainsboro will set up shop. Justin Selby knocked him out of bounds. Let's go to Jim Giannacchio once again. Jim?
Thanks, Chuck. Earlier today, Washington Wilkes wins the AA semifinal over Cook, and it's all Dacus Turman. 237 yards, 2 touchdowns. He needs 138 yards now to break Herschel Walker's single-season rushing record of 3,167. AA championship game next Saturday night at 7:30 p.m. at Americus. The Tigers and the Panthers. Chuck and John.
Thank you, Jim. Winner of this game will host the AAA championship. Quarterback Samples rolling, throws underneath to his tight end, and it's completed to 40. Down to the 34-yard line goes Kyle Palmer. 6'3", 205. He was open for business as he took the pass. Ken Freeman made the stop, and a nice rollout here, John, by Jason Samples.
Well, he gives a very faint effort at a play-action pass, and he finds on the rollout a little tip play there. And Kyle Palmer shows you what a good receiver he can be as he drags Ken Freeman and mates on down the field. You're going to see number 86, Rod Brown, actually tipped the ball. Excuse me. Yeah, Rod Brown tipped the ball, and big Kyle Palmer pick it up on the tip drill.
That was an underneath route, a drag route, and he was open. So first down, 10 yards to go. The ball at the 34-yard line. 1 minute, 4 seconds left. You see the timeout situation. Swainsboro with only 1 remaining, but they've got great field position here. County cheerleaders. Washington County located in Sandersville, where all those kaolin mines are located, down there just east of Milledgeville. They've got a great football tradition. The head coach of Swainsboro, Ray Van Teague, now in his 7th season with that club. After the timeout, here's Samples once again. Going for the bundle. Has a man down the middle. Intercepted at the 10-yard line. With the interception, it was Rod Brown, the rover back. Rodriguez Brown hauls it down, and that turnover will give the ball back to Washington County at the 9-yard line. Watch it again.
He just rolling left field, Samples, and turns back and kind of throws back down the middle of the field, and it was probably ill-conceived. Either Antoine or Rod Brown could have picked that ball off. And
Justin Selby got good pressure. Number 3, the inside linebacker.
That one was up for grabs, as we say, trying to make a big play with a minute left in the half. And, of course, confidently with a 10-point lead, taking another stab at 6 points. You look at the turnovers now. Swainsboro's turned it over twice, but they are leading the football game 10-0.
On the carry, the fullback, Chris Irwin. He gets a couple of yards, decked by Dwayne Woods at the 11-yard line, so 2nd down and 8 yards to go. Washington County with all 3 timeouts remaining, but they're letting the clock roll.
They'll sit on this one going to halftime and try to make some adjustments, and I think one of those adjustments, we'll see if they can get some open receivers and throw the football in the second half and try to get back into this ball game.
2nd down, 8. Handoff, Irwin. He gets out to about the 16-yard line, and on a turning clock, that will do it for the first half. Wesley Reese, strong side defensive tackle, made the stop for Swainsboro. Number 2 Tigers came in, advertised great on offense, or rather on defense, but they have proven that's absolutely correct. They have been super on defense today.
No question about it. All the way here, they've only given up 20 points, and that was last week to Hart County. Before that, they shut out both LaGrange and Thomasville. And when you do that, you're really walking on hollowed ground there. There's some pretty good football dynasties down that way.
Yeah, of course, Hart County had been number 1 all season. And William Devane, the big head coach there. And I'll tell you what, Swainsboro just shut them down. Let's go to the floor of the dome now. And here's John Nelson standing by with Ray Van Teague.
Thanks, Chuck and JD. Right now you're winning the line of scrimmage, and obviously that's got to please you no end.
It does. I think we can do a better job. We haven't run the football like we'd like to right now. We've had some big pass plays. Defense is playing great. But we want to establish the line of scrimmage and run the football, and we're going to in the second half.
That's obviously a very definitive statement. How is Brandon in your mind right now when it comes to his health and your running game?
He's okay. He's trying to cut a little bit too much on the turf, and it's tough when you hit the ground out here. He's just going to protect himself a little bit better and run and try to get 6 and 7 yards and quit trying to break the long ones.
Now, you'd mentioned to me yesterday that you practiced at the University of Georgia under the lights to try and get acclimated to the turf. How is that going, and how are you in comparison to your expectations?
Well, I think that we felt like we were going to be fast on the turf, and we are. That's what's happening is we want to dance a little too much because of the speed instead of just being satisfied and getting 3 yards in a cloud of dust.
Any other changes that you might make outside of just trying to take things a piece at a time instead of chunks at a time like you're looking at?
I think patience offensively and quit having penalties, and we'll be all right.
All right, Ray Van Teague, I appreciate your time here at halftime. You're up 10-0. You've got 10 points to go up, make your adjustments for the second half. Appreciate your time. He's up 10 points, and he's still not happy with the way things are going here at the Dome. Back with more after this.
You're watching the Georgia High School Association Football Championships on GPTV.
The Georgia Dome, it's halftime, and it's Swainsboro Tigers 10 and the Washington County Golden Hawks nothing. I'm Jim Ginocchio, and boy, I'll tell you what, it's been quite a day at the Georgia Dome, including some great halftime festivities. We joined the Swainsboro Marching Band.
Down here on the floor to the big top with Band of Gold band director Stephanie Lawless. Blues Brothers show, one of my favorite movies of all time, probably seen it a good 40 or 50 times. How do you come up with the idea of doing Blues Brothers music?
Well, when they came out with Blues Brothers 2000, I wanted to do the show then, but everybody was doing the show, so I just waited a couple of years and did it here.
I was going to say, you didn't do anything off the soundtrack of Blues Brothers 2000 because that wasn't as great a movie, did you?
Right, I won the original.
How difficult is it to put something like this together with music that they may not necessarily be acquainted with all that well?
You'd be surprised how much the students know just from their parents knowing the music and them listening to it with their parents. They really knew it a lot more than I thought they would.
So it's because of the parents getting them, it obviously gets them closer to knowing what's going on, right?
Right, right.
If you had a dream routine with your band, what would it be?
I really don't have one specifically, really. I'd like to do a big band show, a lot of jazz in it, a lot of soloists in it.
Now, obviously, it's real important for your town to be, your band to be facing your town. How important is the support for the band that you guys get down there?
The community is very supportive of the band. As a matter of fact, there was a lot of donations, and I'd like to thank the community for giving us donations so that we could take charter buses and the students could be a little bit more comfortable coming up here. But we really get the crowd into it. We got here at 2 o'clock today to get the crowd started, and last game we went to, Hart County, the crowd just was roaring the whole time. So it's important that we entertain the crowd as well as get them involved in the football game.
All right, well, appreciate your time, and by the way, very cool selections of music.
Thank you.
Band of Gold, band director. Let's send it back upstairs. 1 down, 1 to go for halftime, guys.
Thank you, Nelly. The halftime festivities roll on from the Georgia Dome. It's the AAA semifinals. Waynesboro leads it 10-0 at the half.
You're watching the Georgia High School Association Football Championships on GPTV.
Welcome back to the Georgia Dome. It's the AAA semifinals. Swainsboro leads it at halftime, 10-0 over Washington County. Here's the Washington County Marching Band.
We go from the band of gold to the Golden Hawks marching band. John Hillsman, I got to ask you, how much fun is it to put something together like this?
Oh, it's a lot of fun. We've had a great time this year. We've just tried to put together a real entertaining show for our hometown football crowd, one that we do well at competition, and I think we hit on it. It worked pretty good for us.
I was really digging that drummer. Let me go over here with Jason Martin real quick. Let me ask you, what's it like to be involved in all this kind of stuff? You're new here to Sandersville, and what life is like. What's it like?
Right, it's great. Everybody, the town support is amazing. Everybody comes out to the football games. We have a ton of people here tonight, and everybody's just all rooting for the same thing. It's great.
All right, guys, I appreciate your time. Golden Hawks marching band. Let's send it back upstairs to the roof of the Big Top. And Jim.
All right, Nelly, way to go. I'll tell you what, you can't beat it. You get the cheerleader support, you get the fan support, and you can't beat the marching band. You know, earlier today we had the single A game. Commerce beat Lincoln County by the count of 17-14. The double A, Washington Wilkes, winners over Cook, 28-7. And of course, right now we are at halftime between Swainsboro, and here are the highlights between Swainsboro and Washington County. Jason Samples begins this one off. Big touchdown pass, 51 yards to Mitch Nobles. And that makes it 7-0. Great play right there. Then the big sack by Washington County. And Brandon Andrews comes up with a nice run right here for Swainsboro as Andrews takes off downfield. And that set up a 38-yard field goal by the freshman Kason Devane to make it 10-0 Swainsboro. And there it is right there, the 38-yard field goal by Devane. And Swainsboro's Brandon Andrews, well, then he fumbled, recovered by Clint Brown right there. And then this big interception right here by Washington County. But at the half, it's 10-0 Swainsboro. As we get ready for a second half kickoff, Chuck Hushin and John Dewberry will have the call for you after these messages and a word from GPTV.
You're watching the Georgia High School Association Football Championships on GPTV.
Clock ticks. Welcome back to the Georgia Dome. We get ready to go in the second half as Swainsboro leads Washington County. You see the score, 10-0. And we'll look at the first half statistics, and it's reflective of the strong defensive performance by Statesboro, John Dewberry.
Yeah, Swainsboro's definitely doing a great job. Of course, they got more points, 10-0, and it's all been them. First downs, passing yards, 72 yards, rushing yards, 113. Total yards, 185 to 41. They've turned the ball over twice, but not in critical situations that have cost them anything offensively. Defensively, they have just really smothered Washington County. And unfortunately for Washington County, they're kicking off, and Swainsboro will receive the kickoff this second half with a comfortable 10-point lead.
You see Brandon Andrews, he drops deep to receive the kickoff of Clem McDavid. And kick away from and taken by an up back. That's Brazel. And Brazel gets out across the 40 to the 41-yard line before he's knocked down. They rip the ball loose, but after the whistle. So it's going to be first down and 10 yards to go from the 41-yard line. Jason Freeman had to stop.
Coach Tomlin tried to make a play there on special teams by kicking high and short, little coffin corner type of kick, and Brazel fielded the ball cleanly and then showed you one of the most inspiring runs of the afternoon to get the ball back over the 40-yard line.
Quarterback Jason Samples wears number 1 under center. Power I formation. Top of the I, it's Andrews, and they hand the ball to Andrews. He gets back to the line of scrimmage, but no more. Dwayne Renfro, the inside linebacker, makes a stop for Washington County. He's the strong side backer and has been active today. Second down and 10 yards to go. Market at the Swainsboro 41-yard line. They've won 9 in a row now, the second-ranked Tigers. Washington County comes in at 11-2, and they have won 5 games in a row and had a big win a couple of weeks ago against 5th-ranked Appling County in the second round. Power I again. Here's Andrews running right up the gut. Crosses the 50 down to the 48-yard line before he's knocked down. The stop on the play is made by Corey May, the free safety, along with Ken Freeman.
Well, you just see it's a straight power eye play off the left tackle. And basically that time, Brandon Andrews got a lot of help from his friends, opening up a big hole. And then he dragged a few of the defenders in the secondary for 3 or 4 extra yards. But Coach Teague picking up and Swainsboro offensively picking up where they left off in the first half, and that is 2 tight ends, power eye backfield, and just going to hammer that defensive front of Washington County.
Turn, hand to Andrews again, and Andrews gets about a yard this time. He's been getting some great lead blocks from his fullback, Kevin Pickett. Pickett comes in 5'10", 190, but he's getting some good lead blocks, and Andrews, to his credit, playing off that block. If he takes him one way, he's cutting back to the near side or the far side, depending on which way the block goes. Rod Brown and Justin Selby on that last stop of Andrews. He got only a yard, 2nd down and 9 to go. Again, double tight set, I formation, power I formation with Andrews at the top. Quick pitch, toss sweep, and Andrews breaks 1 tackle, tries to get to the corner, rolled out of bounds at the 39-yard line by Corey May. That was a gain of 7 yards for Andrews, who on the season, including playoffs now, 2,438 yards for an 8-yard per carry average. He has scored 32 touchdowns.
Well, that play there was just student body right, made famous by the Trojans of University of South Carolina. It was led by Ted Sconyers, the right guard, as he pulled around the corner to lead the lead blocks. And Andrews, big play.
There's a handoff drawn to Andrews, and he may have the first down by a half yard as he runs at left tackle. Coming up to make the stop was Antoine Evans at cornerback, but not before Brandon Andrews picks up the first down. You see the signal from Dennis Payne, the referee.
Now you take a look at Andrews, who's up around 75 yards already, I believe, on the day. You saw his stats a moment ago, Chuck. He's having a pretty good game after bouncing back from that below the knee. He took a helmet to the knee early in the 2nd quarter.
Ray Van Tig likes what he sees so far. There's a sprint draw going to Andrews this time. And he runs in the middle there. Dwayne Renfro makes a stop on him at the 35, maybe the 34-yard line. Here's John Nelson again.
Chuck and JD talked to Rick Tomberlin on his way over here to the bench to start the second half. He said, plain and simple, they are whipping us on defense. We have got to get more physical with them. And also he wants his team to make a play and play with pride. So he's got to get more physical up front if he's going to make an inroad on this 10-point deficit.
Ball at the 34-yard line. 2nd down, 7 yards to go after a gain of 3. Toss sweep. Here's Andrews again. Gets some blocks out there and picks up 3 more to the 31-yard line before he's knocked down. Tackled by Dwayne Renfro for the 2nd consecutive time Renfro makes a stop, and it's just power football you're watching now.
That's right, and it's talk about Tomlin's team trying to get more physical. They got physical there on Andrews. It wasn't just Renfro that time. There was 6 or 7 black jerseys laying there on the ground with Andrews. So if they're going to make a stand, they better make it here. 3rd down and about 5 yards. I don't think it's any question as to who's probably going to get the football here on straight power football.
You see the situation, 3rd down and a long 4 yards to go. Ball at the 31. Power eye set, double tight end. Here's Andrews once again, finding a seam, gets close to the first down marker before Corey May, the free safety, knocks him down. I don't think Andrews got there.
Well, I tell you, it's a little disappointing, I'm sure, for Washington County, because everybody in the stadium knows who's going to get the football, and they just can't stop him. Brandon Andrews got a little hole that time and made a big 3.5 yards to bring up 4th down and a half yard. Of course, Swainsboro will obviously go for it here on 4th down and try to increase their lead.
He gained 281 yards last week against Hart County, carried the ball 40 times. Power I formation on 4th and short. Andrews with a football picks up the first down at the 25-yard line. Dwayne Renfro again makes a stop, but not before big Brandon Andrews picks up the first down. Then the drive stays alive. A 4th down conversion for Swainsboro. They lead this thing 10-0, as you can see. A little more than 7 minutes remaining in the 3rd quarter.
Here you should take a look at Brandon Andrews. He's up over 100 yards now to 103 yards on 19 carries, averaging 5.4 times every time he carries the football. He is a whale of a back.
There's a power eye set once again. This time they give it off to the fullback, and that is Kevin Pickett. He gets knocked down behind the line of scrimmage, lost about a yard. To the 26, Dwayne Renfro on the stop once again. Third of 5 games coming up today at the Georgia Dome. Following this one, it's Creekside and Statesboro in the Quad A semifinals. Winner has the right to go on to the state championship. And then the final game of the day will feature the Parkview Panthers in 5A going against West Side of Macon.
That should be a doozy as well. Parkview's got a really fine football team, as does West Side Macon.
Winner of that game will go against Harrison, Cobb County. There's a pass off the hands of the intended receiver. That was a tight end, Kyle Palmer. Another drag route. Jason Samples on a rollout had him open. We saw that play in the first half. They completed that pass. This time, Samples off the mark.
Just a little boot action, not a whole lot of play action fake there. And then Samples, under a little bit of pressure from Rod Brown, had to get rid of it and tried to find his tight end Palmer and couldn't connect. 3rd down and 10. Swainsboro has really not been stopped by Washington County. Swainsboro has stopped themselves. They've only converted 1 for 4 on 3rd downs. They've turned the ball over twice.
Toss sweep. Here's Andrews once again. Breaks the tackle. Gets close to the first down yard. He's going to be about a yard short. Going to set up another 4th down conversion. Dwayne Renfro made the stop on the toss sweep. Brandon Andrews got some good blocking at the point of attack, and we're going to see them run the football on 4th down again, John.
Yeah, that's just what my point I was trying to make. There's really no reason at all for Mr. Teague to throw the football right now for Swainsboro. Just give it to Brandon Andrews and wear him down. That offensive line is wearing out Washington County's defensive front. Don't self-destruct. You've already turned the ball over twice. You haven't converted on 3rd down but once. Just give it to Brandon Andrews and wear him down.
4th and 1 at the 16. Quarterback sneak by Samples. He picks up the first down at the 12-yard line. Gain of 4 yards on the play for Justin Samples. And another good surge by the offensive line for Swainsboro. Watch it again. Big hole there. Ran behind the center, Chris Flanders.
I think everybody's surprised that actually Jason Samples carried the ball, not Brandon Andrews. He got through there before the Washington County defensive front even responded. As you see, Coach Teague and the brain trust of Samples and Teague trying to get together, widen this lead. They're on the 12-yard line trying to widen this lead of 10-0 right now.
And they have controlled the ball here in the 3rd quarter. We're down to 5:16, and there's been 1 punt for each side. Here's Andrews down to the 10-yard line. He gets tripped up. Stop on the play is made by Justin Selby along with Dwayne Renfro.
Outstanding defensive effort that time. Single defensive effort. He sneaks through and gets down low. One of the few ways to actually stop Brandon Andrews, knock his legs out from underneath him. He's a powerful kid and a fast kid. I really like what Swainsboro and Coach Teague's doing right now. Just wearing those guys down, as you see Brandon Andrews up to 114 yards now.
2nd down and 8 yards to go. Toss sweep. Andrews cuts it back at the 10 and didn't get much. About a half yard to the 9. Rodriguez Brown makes a stop for Washington County.
And as again, just a straight toss sweep, and a whole host of guys turning it back in. There you see Ken Freeman turn it back into his teammate Rodriguez Brown, who makes a good solo tackle. Otherwise, Brandon Andrews had designs on cutting that all the way back for the big touchdown run.
3rd down, 7 yards to go. Big play for the Golden Hawks defense of Washington County. Power eye set, double tight ends. Handoff, Andrews running in the middle, takes it to the 6-yard line before he's knocked down. Will Lord, a defensive guard, makes a stop. This is going to bring up 4th and about 3. And decision time for Coach Raven Teague of Swainsboro. Decides whether he's going to go for the field goal or he's going to go for it on 4th down. He's been successful twice on 4th down, and he didn't think it over too long. They're going to go for it for a 3rd time on this drive alone. Golden Hawks fans on their feet. Again, power eye formation. Andrews at the top of the eye. Play action. There's a quarterback. Gets hit once, twice down to the 3-yard line goes Jason Samples, and he is very close to the first down. Rodriguez Brown had to stop. Little play action that time. They tried to get something going on the near side, but Washington County was in there. They couldn't make the stop, though.
You see him here basically on a little bootleg, and the penetration made it such that he had to turn into one option. It's supposed to be a run-pass option, but the penetration is such that Jason Sam says, hey, I better take it myself before I lose yardage, and makes a great effort to get the first down, I believe. No,
he did
short.
not. First down for Washington County. So they dodge a major bullet. Still trailing 10-0 though, but they turn Swainsboro away with no points on this long drive. We have 3:14 left in the fourth quarter. Take a look at some of the other games coming up later in the day at the Georgia Dome. Shaw will await the winner of Creekside and Statesboro, the Blue Devils, coming up from East Central Georgia. And then the 5A semifinal, Parkview and Westside Macon go against the Harrison Hoyas. Handoff going to Irwin. He gets out to the 10-yard line before he's racked up. Stop on a play by Damian Coleman, the strong safety. Chris Irwin, the fullback, the workhorse for Washington County.
No question, he's a good back in his own right, and he's carried it for over 1,500 yards for Washington County. And he did a good job there before Damian Coleman came up from the secondary, his strong safety rover-back type position, and nailed Chris, but not before he picked up 8 yards.
Rick Tomberlin, the head coach, Washington County, trying to figure this one out. There's Irwin once again. He gets out to the 15, has the first down by 2 yards. It's going to be first down 10 for Washington County. Charles Silas, big weak side linebacker, 6'5", 220 pounds, and a senior.
Well, I tell you, that's a great goal line stand there by Washington County. Only being down 10 points, one play, and you're back in this football game. Anybody can make one football play. They just need a big play and a touchdown.
Remember old man Mo, toss sweep coming up, and it's dropped by Miller. And now he gets loose on the far side. Damian Coleman had to knock him out of bounds, but that was a nice bounce. Thank goodness for artificial turf if you're a Washington County fan, because it bounced right back up into Prince Miller's hands.
This could have been that big play if it hadn't dropped it, because you see he actually gets to the corner after dropping the ball and picking it back up before Damian Coleman saves a 90-yard touchdown run.
Princeton Miller with a gain of 8, second down and 2 yards to go from the 23-yard line. You see Princeton Miller and his work on the season. High formation. Handoff going to the fullback, Irwin. He got to the 25, no more. Dwayne Woods, strong side linebacker, makes a stop for Swainsboro. It's going to be close to a first down, depends on the spot. He may be a little bit short. It's going to be third and very short for Washington County. We are getting very late now in the third quarter. 1:49 left. Washington County with a football, and as you can see, they're down 10-zip.
And I believe, Chuck, that Washington County has yet to convert on third down in this football game. So this is a huge play. They're 0 for 7 on third down. They have got to convert here.
Third and about 6 inches. Preston Smith, the quarterback. Long snap count, gets it off to Irvin. Picks up the first down at the 25.5-yard line. Now they've converted. They're 1 for 8 on the day and keeps this important drive alive. They move the sticks. So Washington County, you see fullback Chris Irvin as he heads back to the huddle. He's a workhorse.
No question about it. Irwin is a good back, and he picked up an all-important first down at that point. They have got to get the ball moving into Swainsboro's territory and threaten Swainsboro. They have not been threatened since very, very early in the football game.
They've had some good backs come out of there. You see Irwin. They've had guys like Robert Edwards. There's a toss sweep coming up to Mario East. He's trying to get outside, breaks the tackle, 31-yard line before he's knocked down. Nice run. Wesley Reese, strong side defensive tackle, ran him down from behind, but a nice move by Mario East. And he got loose on the corner on the near side. Toss sweep.
He makes does a great job avoiding the strong safety blitz by Damian, and then he gets outside, makes another move. It's as good a run as any run it's been today before he's tackled by Maurice Mincy. But Marlo East, that's as good a run as anything Brandon Andrews has done today.
High formation. Second man through is Princeton Miller. He gets to the 32 before he's thrown backward. Damian Coleman makes a stop. The final seconds are ticking away here in the third quarter. Washington County with a football, and they have the momentum at the moment, but they trail in this game 10-0 to Swainsboro. We're going to take a break. Come back with quarter number 4. Washington County and Swainsboro battle here on GPTV.
You're watching the Georgia High School Association Football Championships on GPTV.
We go to quarter number 4. You see some of the fans up from Sandersville to watch their Golden Hawks battle here in the State 3A semifinals at the Georgia Dome against Swainsboro. 3rd down, 3 yards to go. Toss sweep coming up. Here's Mario East. 35, 40. Mario East knocked down at the 46-yard line. Picks up a big first down for the Golden Hawks. Brian Mason had the tackle, the cornerback. He saved a touchdown.
I tell you, Mario East has turned out to be a key factor for Washington County right now. It's just a straight sprint to get on the grass, and he gets there. And a saving tackle that time by Brian Mason. As you take a look at it, good blocking at the point of attack. His big number 69 just manhandled the defensive end.
There's Irwin, takes a handoff. The fullback crosses the midfield. Stripe takes it down to the 48-yard line for a gain of 6. Dwayne Woods, the inside linebacker, made the stop. The interesting part about this Washington County club, they turned the corner, we should say, as we said earlier. Appling County, they got a big win over the number 5 team in the state. They play with 8 juniors on this starting offense. They are a very young club.
When you search their roster, there's only 11 seniors on the entire roster, so they probably will be back in the Dome next year.
High formation. Handoff gone to Irwin once again. Chris Irwin picks up about 3 to the 45-yard line. Jesse Bright, the weak side defensive tackle, makes the stop for Swainsboro. It's going to be 3rd down now and 1.5 yards to go for a first down. So another big 3rd down situation coming up for the Golden Hawks.
And that offensive line is starting to make some movement. A minute ago, Will Lord did a great job on the pulling left guard to lead Mario East out on the corner. And that time he popped him up in the middle to get Chris Irwin a couple of yards.
This time a double wing set. Irwin's a fullback. Quarterback sneak by Preston Smith, and he has a first down by about 1/2 yard. Charles Silas, big linebacker, makes the stop for Swainsboro, but not before on a quarterback keeper. Preston Smith picks up the first down. They went to a double slot set that time and kind of spread that defense out a little bit, opened it up in the middle.
They sure did, and again, if you saw it that time, Preston went behind his left guard again, Will Lord, to pick up that first down. His left guard and his left tackle, Jamal Davis. He led left. Quarterbacks like to, when they do a quarterback sneak, they like to feel comfortable. He must feel comfortable with the left guard, Will Lord.
Ball at the 42. Little play action. Smith back, going to throw underneath. Pass off the hands of the intended receiver, Corey May, at the 38. Jason Samples had the coverage.
Oh, that's a heartbreaker for Preston. Preston Smith. Good play action. He was under a little pressure. He found Corey May coming across the middle on a crossing route. He was open. He put it in his hands, and Corey should have hung on to that football. That could have been the big play I was mentioning a minute ago to get them back into this football game. You got to like the character that Washington County is playing with right now. They are reaching back to their heritage where they have championships from 94, from 96, and 97.
2nd down, 10 yards to go now. The 42 of Swainsboro. Again, play action. Preston Smith scrambling. Throws back underneath. Pass complete to Antoine Evans at the 36-yard line. That got him about 6. Brian Mason made the stop, the cornerback. And I would say that's about probably the 3rd receiver down the list. You see the play action by Preston Smith.
Preston does a great job avoiding the rush, but he paid for that pass. He was drilled in the backfield. Watch him here. Preston has got great presence of mind. He's about to get sacked, moves a little bit, buys himself some time, and as you point out, picks up his 3rd receiver.
So here we go.
Antoine. Oh, QB's out, so they've probably gone to our guy Corey May again. Look for the option.
High formation. May keeps it, cuts it back, stretches for the first down. Did he get there? We'll see. 33-yard line, knocked down by Kyle Palmer, the quick side defensive end. So we'll see the spot. It's at the 34. It's about 1.5 yards shy of the first down marker. So this is a huge play. by the Washington County Golden Hawks. So big, in fact. Coach Rick Tomberlin wants to talk it over. He calls a timeout, burns one of his 3 timeouts. So you got to figure down 10-0, and the way this Swainsboro defense plays, Washington County's got to get some points on this drive. We've got 8:46 left.
I like what Coach Tomberlin just did by taking Corey May in and put him in and running the option. I knew he was going to run the option. Most guys know he's going to run the option. But that time there, as you see Coach Tomberlin looking in with his coaching staff.
Let's listen into the huddle now with Coach Tomberlin.
34 Boone. Let's get it. Chris, we got a yard and a half. We got to have one out. We need that. Derek, I need the linebacker. Let's go. Get him blocked. We get the first down here. We back in. Put it right here. Let's go. Let's go. 34 Boone. We're going to win over 1, 2, 3.
There they go. Coach Tomberlin knows it's gut check time here. 4th down, yard and a half to go for a first down. His team down 10-0. We get late in the game here. 8 minutes, 46 seconds left. Defensive coordinator for Swainsboro has done a great job. Departs the scene, and here we go. This is a play of the game. Wide out left, I formation. There's Irwin with a football. Irwin is not going to get there, I don't think. They mark it right at the 33-yard line. Charles Silas, a big defensive end, makes a stop. I think he's about a half yard short. Irwin did not get the push from his offensive line. And the ball goes over. Ball goes over to Swainsboro. You see the reaction from the Swainsboro coaching staff. And that is a huge play. And now the onus is on the Washington County defense if you're a Golden Hawks fan, because you got to come out there, you got to get the ball back. 3 and out or force a turnover.
Turn out the lights, Chuck. The party's over. That was they had to convert there on 4th down, and I was surprised that Coach Tomlin did not keep Corey May at the quarterback position and run option. You're not going to run up in the heart of that Swainsboro's defense. I don't care if you got Chris Irwin. You're not going to run up in the heart of that defense and get the first down. You had to use a little deception like you did on 3rd down. I'd have gone back to that with the option, and they had a better chance of getting on the corner and using speed against speed instead of muscle against muscle, because they got more muscle.
Tigers go with a power eye once again. We get some people jumping a little early. No flag. Andrews with a football takes it out to the 41-yard line. Tackle on the play is made by Mario East. So the clock is rolling now. 8 minutes, 28 seconds left.
Look at the surge of that offensive line. They're just powering up in there, and of course Brandon Andrews is such a load. Washington County's done a real fine job on defense, just hanging in this football game and keeping the score at 10-0. But I tell you, that is a tremendous surge they're getting on the offensive line by Swainsboro. And then after you get battered by the offensive line, you get battered by those 2 fullbacks.
2nd down, 2. Here's Andrews again, running it right up the gut, takes it to the 45, picks up another first down, moves the sticks, and more importantly for Swainsboro, keeps the clock rolling. Watch it again.
Look at that surge. And as I said, after you get ramrodded by the offensive line, you get ramrodded by Brazell and Pickett, and then you get ramrodded by Andrews. That's just a whole lot of, as you take a look at Andrews, that's just a whole lot of beef coming at you. Best way to put it.
You see his numbers on the day. Brandon Andrews has gained at least 200 yards in every playoff game so far. This time his numbers are going to back up a little bit because he gets decked for a 2-yard loss. Emil McBride, the senior nose tackle, knifed through and made the stop on Brandon Andrews. Nice play.
Great penetration that time by Emil, and they also had good penetration by the linebacker Dwayne Renfro. He's been very active here in the second half.
Loss of 3 yards, 2nd down, 13 yards to go. Double tight end set, power I formation. Here's Andrews, quick dive play, gets out to the 48-yard line before he's knocked down. Got 5 yards back. They're going to face 3rd down here and about 7.5 yards to go. Stop on a play made by Ken Freeman. That outside linebacker, Rodriguez Brown, also there. So 3rd down, 7. Mark it at the 49-yard line officially.
There you take a look at 3rd down conversions. Swainsboro's 1 for 6. Washington County 3 for 10, and all of them on that last drive. So they went 3/4 of football without getting a conversion and got them all on that last drive.
Swainsboro, toss sweep. Andrews trying to get on the corner. 50, 45, 43-yard line before he's knocked down, and he has another first down. Corey May made the stop. They'll run him up inside, and then they'll go with a toss sweep outside. Watch this.
Look at the pulling guards leading out front. Good blocks there on Brown, and then smart piece of running that time by Andrews. He knows what he needs to do is burn the clock. So instead of running out of bounds, he dodges back in, picks up the first down, and looks like he picks up the first down.
Got a good lead block that time from Chesley Flanders.
They're on the far side measuring, Chuck. I thought for sure.
Yeah, he's about 6 inches short.
He sure is. I do believe they'll go for it here on 4th down, even though the ball is at midfield, but we'll see. They have a great defense, and they can always punt it away and protect by playing field position game. But when you got Brandon Andrews, 6 inches is pretty much a sure thing.
Raven Teague talking with his quarterback, Jason Samples. They face another 4th down conversion here in the second half. They are 2 for 3 so far. On that one long drive in the third quarter, they converted successfully twice, and then inside the 10-yard line on 4th and short, Washington County turned them away. So this is another big one because the clock's at 6 minutes precisely right now. And Washington County down 10-zip. Quarterback sneak, Samples, second effort, picks it up at the 43-yard line. Great second effort by Jason Samples. And he has a first down. Clock is ticking away.
You'll see a little surge, but they get pushed back here, and Jason Samples opens his eyes and said, little hole right over here. Good quarterback, good presence of mind, leadership that Jason Samples is showing us tonight. Is Jason down on the ground?
Yeah.
He sure is. It looks like a cramp there. Got him in a position where he's either got a calf cramp probably or a hamstring cramp, and he should be okay.
Gerald Parker enters the game, a sophomore, and he'll run the club at quarterback. Jason Samples shouldn't be out too long. He has to be out for at least one play. Great drive going on here. Ray Van Teague talked with us earlier this week, and we asked him about what he likes best about coaching, and here's how he responded.
I think I like the opportunity to change young lives. I feel like it's a ministry with me. We definitely put time in our program for the Lord. I like to watch young men grow up. I like to see that, be the male influence in so many of them's lives. We have so many kids that come from broken homes. Probably about 80% of our team has one or less parents. And I think it's important that we get as many good men, Christian men, involved in their lives as possible. And so that's kind of our ministry.
Coach Ray Van Teague, 92 wins in his career. He's been in coaching for 16 years. This is his 7th year as head coach at Swainsboro, or a 65-17. And he has his team one leg up on the AAA semifinals. Parker in there at quarterback. Samples is out. Handoff going to Andrews, and he runs in the middle, picks up 2 yards to the 42-yard line. Emil McBride, the nose tackle, makes the stop.
They're just wearing the clock down now, 5:10 and winding down. And I really like what Coach Teague had to say, and Coach Tomlin's the same way. Most high school coaches, the guys look up to their high school coach as one of the main figures in their life, and they can really influence them not only on the field but off the field.
Our eyes set on 2nd and 8. Breaks the tackle, cuts outside at the 30, down to the 25-yard line. Brandon Andrews getting it done here. Ken Freeman, the outside linebacker, had to make the stop. And Andrews really has Swainsboro in business.
Just a
Boy,
good,
nice moves.
Just a good power eye play off left tackle. You'll see it here. And Andrews gets good blocks, and in spite, sees the good block there by Pickett, and then to see something across field, a little daylight, and runs to it. Big play.
First down 10, ball at the Washington County 25-yard line. Handoff Andrews, runs right up the gut, takes it to the 22-yard line. Will Lord, the defensive guard, makes the stop. Ken Freeman was there once again as well. So mark it officially at the 21. It's a gain of 3, second down, and 7 yards to go.
I got to tell you, Coach Tomlin has done a heck of a job to get to this game and hang in this football game the way he has, because Swainsboro is an overly matched team. He said it himself. We feel like David versus Goliath, and it's certainly that way standing here watching and calling this football game, and you got to give them credit for hanging as well as they have.
Second down, 6 yards to go, and Brandon Andrews on the carry, gets to the 20, and then he gets thrown back by a bunch of Golden Hawks. Dwayne Renfro led the charge. The only touchdown in this game came very early on, a 49-yard touchdown pass from Justin Samples to Mitch Nobles, and you watch Andrews do his thing.
Just the same play we ran a moment ago when he picked up the first down, except this time it's off the right side, just a straight power eye play, off right tackle. That time, nothing doing with Washington County.
3.2 grade point average. Brandon Andrews. He's a good student as well. Double tight set, toss sweep coming up to Andrews. Cuts it back at the 20, goes to the 19, and that's all she wrote. There to make the tackle, Corey May and Dwayne Renfro. So that's a gain of 1. Another big third down coming up for Swainsboro. Correction, fourth down. Fourth down and 4 yards to go. And again, gut check time for Washington County. They got to get the football back. The clock is flying here. 2 minutes, 48 seconds left.
And you see Brandon Andrews, as usual, he's carried the ball a whopping 34 times for 165 yards, a little bit under his average, but that's what you'd expect with a well-disciplined defense like Washington County.
4th and 4. Here's Andrews looking for the first down. At the 15, at the 10, at the 5. Touchdown, Brandon Andrews. That is the final nail in the coffin, and I guess that's dessert for Brandon Andrews. He's had a great dinner, rushing for 165 yards. That's a cherry on top. 15-yard touchdown run, and it's 16-0.
Boy, that was a beautiful piece of running. We'll look at it just a minute after the extra point, but he gave him the little start and stop. We say give him the leg and take it away. He did that and then rambled in for 15 yards and a touchdown.
Kason Devane on to try the point after. And he sticks it up there good. So 2:26 remaining. Swainsboro on its way to the state 3A finals. They beat Washington 17-0. Watch it again.
You got to love this. It's 4th down and 4. The game's hanging in the balance. They give it to the guy. He stutter steps on him and then shoots for the goal line in the pylon in the corner of the end zone, and Brandon Andrews shows you why he's one of the greatest backs in the history of Georgia high school football.
I think I said 15 yards on the run. That's a 19-yard touchdown run for Brandon Andrews. Whatever it is, it puts this game away.
And I believe it puts him up about 185 yards now in rushing. So he's getting close to his 200-yard average in the playoffs. As you pointed out earlier, he's gone over 200 yards in each of the playoff games. It's amazing. That was a classic Brandon Andrews effort to lead his team to a certain victory here now.
Coach Tig and his staff know they're on the way. They'll be playing Fitzgerald at home next weekend. That game taking place about 50 miles west of Savannah along I-16. Antoine Evans with the kickoff return takes it out to the 18-yard line where he's knocked down. Michael Kyler makes the stop. Backup defensive back.
You take a look at Coach Tomlin sending out his quarterback, Preston Smith. I tell you, they got to be back here next year unless they have a lot of injuries, Chuck, because they are very young on this football team. As you point out, I think they only start 3 seniors. They only have 11 on their roster, but all the guys, Chris Irwin, the names we've been calling out, Antoine, Marlo East, they're all juniors or sophomores, the quarterback sophomores, so they should be back here next year in the dome.
Preston Smith throws it underneath, intended for Evans, but knocked away by the strong safety Damian Coleman. Yeah, Washington County starts 8 underclassmen on offense, and they start 7 underclassmen on defense. They've got the kicker, the place kicker, and the punter coming back, so they should be in good shape next year.
And again,
Swainsboro, all these seniors, this is their year. Brandon Andrews has had a tremendous year, and you might want to say that, well, you know, they've ridden on his back, but their defense is a real deal. They have an excellent defense at Swainsboro.
No question about it. And, of course, again, credit Rick Tomlin for getting his team even to the semifinals as young as they are. Outstanding coaching job.
That pass complete to Mario East, takes it out to the 25-yard line for a gain of 7. Damian Coleman and Dwayne Woods combine on the stop as East is tackled. and did not get out of bounds, so the clock rolls on here. We're under 2 minutes now. 17-0. Swainsboro a winner, or rather leading, trying to get the victory under their belts and head for Fitzgerald. There's a pass intended for East. This one complete out to the 28-yard line. Coleman makes a stop once again. You think things will be rocking in Swainsboro this week?
As much as they possibly can.
Hosting Fitzgerald. Now Fitzgerald located down on I-75. And they're just north of Valdosta.
Exactly. I was going to say down near real football country in Valdosta.
Fitzgerald, founded by a group of Union veterans, Union Civil War veterans back in the late 19th century, named after the Ohio doctor who set it all up. Here's Preston Smith. He'll try to scoot out of bounds and does so at the 38-yard line. We have 90 seconds left in this game. And I believe Preston Smith has picked up the first down. Let's see where they spot the ball on the near sideline.
Going to be a little short.
Yeah, they mark it back at the 38. So it's second down, less than a yard to go. Well, it's been some great football all weekend long here at the Georgia Dome. Don't forget, 2 more games to follow this one, Quad A and 5A. The semifinals. Pass underneath, complete to East at the 40. Takes it ahead to the 47-yard line before he's knocked down. Picks up the first down. They'll stop the clock while they move the sticks. Maurice Mincy, Woods, and Damian Coleman combine on the stop.
I tell you, when you look at Washington County, not to harp on it too much, you got to get excited if you're Coach Tomlin and the fans from Washington County and the players themselves. All the guys you've seen out there catching the ball. Mario East, Chris Irwin running it, quarterback Preston. They're all underclassmen. They're going to be back next year. Got a lot to look forward to.
Trips to the left. Handoff goes to Irwin. Irwin gets out near the 49-yard line where he's knocked down. Tackled by Jesse Bright, the weak side defensive tackle. And we'll get timeout called by Washington County here. They're down to 1 timeout remaining. They come to the near sideline to talk to Coach Rick Tomberlin. This is the 6th time in the past 9 years that Tomberlin has had Washington County in the semifinal round. Up until today, they were undefeated at the Georgia Dome at 3-0. Their last state championship came back in 1997. That team led by Terrence Edwards, Jesse Miller, both of whom wound up at the University of Georgia.
I think the amazing thing we were talking off air about to me is that getting him here last week by beating Carrollton, going away totally from the rushing game, went to the passing game. They'd only thrown for 600 yards the entire season. Preston Smith goes out as a sophomore and sets a school record, throws for 291 yards and 3 touchdowns. Otherwise, if he hadn't made that brilliant coaching change, they wouldn't be in the Dome.
And you look at Swainsboro, what they've done, a big win over Thomasville. We know about their tradition, a win over 4th-ranked LaGrange, 6-zip, their biggest victory, and then blew out Hart County, the #1 team. Preston Smith getting pressure, puts it up, and the pass is incomplete again, intended for Mario East. The pressure that time coming from the linebacker Jamal Butler.
Jamal Butler hurt himself, I believe. He's still down on the turf.
47 seconds left. And you see Butler as Swainsboro trainers come out to attend to him.
I believe he's just shooken up. It doesn't, I think he and Preston Smith had a collision, which was initiated, of course, by Mr. Butler. And it looks like Mr. Butler may have got the worst of it.
I know that Jim Giannacchio and the folks at Prep Sports Plus have addressed this, but the unsung heroes often with these football programs are the trainers and the doctors who, you know, a lot of times just donate their time, and they do such a great job, and a lot of times don't get a lot of credit, but you know, they do a super job to keep this game as played as safely as possible with these kids.
And they've certainly got a lot of airtime today on the field. We've had several times players down today, but to my knowledge, no one seriously injured, and that's a blessing. I believe Jamal has either got a shoulder problem, or he just kind of got the wind knocked out of him.
And he's one of those big defensive linemen. There's a man who is going to have all the headlines tomorrow. He had plenty of help.
He just
but
noticed.
Brandon Andrews sees himself on television at the Georgia Dome. That's their first time in here. There's a pass complete to Mario East. Fumbles a football, and Swainsboro's got it. That's going to do it. Coming up with a football, Kyle Palmer, the quick side defensive end. Mario East took the pass, got it down to the 35-yard line. Then somebody popped it loose, and Palmer comes up with it at the 36.
Now I think you'll see what I consider to be the best play in football. We call it victory sneak.
You've run this a few times back in your playing days at Georgia Tech.
You take the snap and you take a knee. Victory sneak. What a football game. It's again, Washington County, give them credit for hanging in with just an overpowering offensive and defensive line.
There's the knee. Dewberry's favorite play is the final seconds will tick away here. Jason Samples, Brandon Andrews, and you see the matchup next weekend. That'll be in Swainsboro. Fitzgerald and the Tigers will go at it, and that should be a great game. Fitzgerald, John, you didn't have the opportunity to see them play live yesterday, but they are a very, very well-coached team under Robbie Pruitt. Final seconds are gone in this one, and Swainsboro wins for the first time in the Georgia Dome as they come north, beat Washington County here this afternoon 17-0, hanging up the shutout. And goes without saying, stupendous defense all day. Big key in the second half, ball control by Swainsboro.
And that's the guy who controlled the ball for you, Brandon Andrews. You saw him take a knee a moment and pray to his God for the chance to play in the state championship game in Swainsboro. They get to play it at home, and it's just an unbelievable feeling to get that opportunity for these young men.
The one touchdown, as we mentioned earlier, coming very early in the game in the first quarter. A 49-yard touchdown pass from Jason Samples to Mitch Nobles, and then the 38-yard field goal a short time later by Kaysen Devane, and that was at 10 points. The clinching touchdown, a 19-yard run by Brandon Andrews late, and that put it away for Swainsboro. The two teams shake hands after it's all over, and congratulations to the Swainsboro Tigers going to the state championship game. Brandon Andrews, boy, what a job he did.
I tell you, he just kept pushing and kept pushing and kept plugging, and the best piece of running I saw this tonight was actually his last run, and that was the 20-yard touchdown run.
Final 17-0. Swainsboro winner. We'll come back with a post-game show. Stay with us. You're watching high school football on GPTV.
You're watching the Georgia High School Association Football Championships on GPTV.
And welcome back to the Georgia Dome. Swainsboro wins the AAA semifinal over Washington County 17-0. Let's go downstairs to John Nelson.
Thanks, G. Here with Ray Van Teague. Let me ask you, now we have 48 minutes on the clock. When that clock hit 000, had it sunk into you yet that you were going to play another game next week?
Well, you know, we've worked a long time for this. I'm so proud of the kids. The job they did, we had so many of them go down, but yet their hearts put them back up on their feet, and they finished the game. So I'm just excited for Swainsboro and the kids of Emmanuel County.
What does it mean to Swainsboro and Emmanuel County? For the other 157 counties that there are in the state of Georgia, what does it mean to the county and to Swainsboro?
Well, the best way I can sum it up is the last two Fridays when we went to leave town, it's taken us 45 minutes as they've let out all the schools, and all the school-age kids have been on the side of the road cheering, and then all the adults down the side, and at 12 o'clock in the day. I mean, what can you say? They've taken the team in, and I'm just so proud of that.
One of the things that you and I were talking about earlier, you were concerned about playing under the big top. Obviously, that really didn't turn out to be a factor, did it?
I think that it made our kids get tired quicker in the first half in particular. I think in the second half we kind of fell into a mode and got juiced up and was able to go. But I thought the first half we had a lot of intensity in the first quarter, then we kind of gave out of gas in the second quarter.
All right, let's talk about how you had to get past that. When they kind of bonked late first, early second, how did you bring them back?
Well, fortunately, we're good enough defensively to stay out there and keep them out of the end zone. And then I just think getting back in at halftime, getting them juiced up. The heat's a lot different now than it is when you're practicing. So I think getting them juiced back up and then letting them calm down in the second half, we weren't emotional. We were just out here doing the job, and that doesn't take all the adrenaline doesn't flow and take all your juice.
Talk about somebody that was doing their job today, that 34 guy, Brandon Andrews. Talk about his day.
Well, he's a great back. He's had a great career. He's over 6,000 yards rushing. He comes from a quality family. The young man just is giving his heart and soul, and we appreciate that.
Look ahead to next week for me a little bit. I know that you probably had the sum total about 12 seconds to think about next week, but run it through for me a little bit. What are you foreseeing in any way?
Well, I think Fitzgerald's probably one of the best coach teams that I've seen in a long time. Coach Pruitt, obviously, with 7 state championships, knows what he's doing. He's going to do whatever it takes to win. I think that athletically and physically that we're capable of playing with them. I think we got a lot of work to do as a coaching staff and to work with the kids to get prepared for with such a good staff.
Like what?
Well, just the wing tee and the way he outflanks you and formations you and everything that he does. Seems like as soon as he sees where you're not aligned properly, he takes advantage of it, and he's able to scheme you and do everything. Then their defense, they're just sound over there. They don't give up the big plays. They don't do anything to get themselves beat, and then they're very patient. We're a very patient team. I mean, we want to just knock it down your throat and get it in there, and it's okay if you got the lead. That's why you win a lot of games is when you're patient, and that coach is very patient.
And in Coach Pruitt, there's a guy who was 7 state champs, a 52-game winning streak, Hall of Fame in the state of Florida. He's been there before. How are you going to break it to your players that you're in a championship game, or do you not even really tell them, or you just tell them that it's another game? How do you approach this with them?
Well, their players hadn't won 7 state championships. The coach has. Our guys are here, and they've worked hard. This is what they've dedicated themselves to. And I'm just going to say, go out and have a good time. Let's work. God's given us another week to be together. Let's take advantage of that, and let's make Swainsboro proud.
Now, there's been somebody that's been hopping up and down behind us while we've been doing this interview. That was probably one of the best welcomes that I could have imagined you could have gotten as a head coach.
That's right. This is my boy, Taylor. Say hey, Taylor.
Hey.
Taylor, you just did that to statewide television. Congratulations.
Well,
thank you. Thank you both, Taylor, Ray Van Teague. Congratulations. You're playing one more week. Let's send it back upstairs to Level A in the Big Toppin Gym.
Hope you've enjoyed the GHSA football playoffs from the Georgia Dome. The Quad A game is next. We'll see you at the top of the hour. Georgia Public Television's broadcast of the Georgia High School Association 2000 football semifinals has been made possible in part by Georgia Natural Gas, Georgia's Touchstone Energy Cooperatives, IBEW Local 613, and by South Trust Bank.